Welcome back to Center for Architecture and Metropolitan Planning. Welcome to camp. Welcome to another episode of Urban Talks. Urban Talks is a series focused on abroad architects, abroad studios, abroad professionals. We talk about their work, about their philosophy, about their experience. Today, we have a special guest from South Tyrol, Studio NOA, which stands for Network of Architecture. It's based in Bolzano and also in Berlin, and it's founded by Stefan Rier and Lucas Runger. Our host, our speaker today is Andrea Dal Negro, architect partner of NOA and head of their Berlin's office. NOA is behind some extraordinary architecture, which can be found in incredible locations. You will see, we'll talk about mountain lakes and top of the mountain summit. It will be beautiful. So today's host is Andrea Dal Negro, and I'm welcome here in camp.
Before starting with our journey, I want to introduce shortly the office. So as you mentioned, Stefan Rier and Lucas Runger are the two founders of this office in 2011 in Bolzano, so in Italy. And they have both experience in the touristic environment, so that's why they brought this know-how in the hotel planning. And 3 years ago, we decided to open a second office here in Berlin to be a bit more international and connected with our German clients. And on their side, there are two partners back in Bolzano, Andreas and Christian. And Barbara, she's the head of interior design team. And I'm here in Berlin heading the office and working with more international projects. So the office right now has 25 young creative people divided in architecture and interior design team, which are working together in all the projects. And then besides that, we have a PR and communication departments and an office manager, which is in charge somehow to keep the order in this creative environment. So the two offices are located in Italy and Germany, and most of our projects are located between the Alpine region, so the northern part of Italy, Austria and Germany. But meanwhile, we got also abroad with projects in the US, in Colorado, and on the Caribbean islands. So as said, most of our projects are involving hotels, new buildings or existing buildings. And for all of these projects, we have an approach that involves different elements. So starting from the location itself, from the building site, considering then the clients, that the people that will then visit this building, the user, the final users, but also the stories that each of these building has behind. Normally, so we are used somehow to work in natural environments where the landscape it's quite important and impressive. That's why our approach it's more an emotional approach. So our building should somehow communicate something to the user that is not just technical, but it has a kind of soul that tells a story and can bring emotion through spaces, materials, elements, in order to achieve always different results. So all of our projects, as you can see, are quite different from each other because all of them are telling a story. And when we are planning these objects, we also have a bit of fun while doing it, because sometimes it's we need to take it also not so much serious, but having fun, because this fun then is also the experience that the user will have by visiting our buildings. So today I will show you 5 projects. All of them have different aspects, different materials, and different locations. So the first project is a lake house in Fels. So this is the map of the location. As you can see, Bolzano is the city where our main office is based, so it's not that far. We are in the Alps, in the Alp region. And this was the existing situation. So the clients, which is the municipality of Fels, asked us to reconstruct, replan this lake house, because it was not following, the existing building was not following the hygienical standards. Of course, they want to make it accessible for wheelchairs or disabled people, introduce changing rooms, because in the summer, a lot of people are going there to take a fresh swim. So they asked us in this very beautiful and protected landscape to create a bigger building, so to introduce a bigger volumes. That's why our first approach was the one that we want to avoid, to have a bigger elements in this natural context. So that's why our first approach was, so we try to play with the landscape in order to hide some part of the facade. Then we decide to split the volumes into smaller volumes, which intersect themselves along two axes. So there is one axe that faces the lake with the restaurant and the terrace, which, like, the shape itself of the architecture is opening up toward the view on the lake. And then there is the second axis, which contains the changing rooms and the toilets, which is more technical, more squared. In the front of it, we have a sun deck, a platform, to avoid that is used as access on the lake itself. And this is the picture of the final result. So as you can see, we have two different volumes. One main volume, which is shaped with this pitched roof that is taking a little bit the original shapes of the previous building. And the second part of the building that we covered with this wood frame. And on this wood frame, we let plants growing on top of it, in order to hide this second volumes in few months. So this is the view from the other side of the lake. So for the facade, we used a large panel facade, which is a very common wood in this environment. This again is the view from the terrace. And this is the sun deck. And for the sun deck, we reused parts of the panels of the previous building. So in order to not waste materials that was still good. And as you can see, this is more grayish, because the large wood, once it's fresh, it's new, it's more orange, but then it's changed his appearance in the time, aging together with the landscape. So this is the opening towards the toilets and the changing rooms. And we want to bring inside of this building a little bit of the surrounding nature. So we have large wood for the woods and this green color for the lockers. And one funny story about it is in the interiors, we wanted to keep something very traditional, even if we are in a very modern context. And this element, it's called lace, and it's a typical traditional element in our region. And while we used a single surface for pavement, walls and ceiling, it's like a micro cement cover surface. And while it was still wet, we put this lace on top of it and pull it out immediately after, in order to create this print. And again, a drone picture that shows the building in the environment on this frozen lake during the winter time. So the second project, it's a panoramic platform on 3,251 square meters, meters above the sea level. And we are in the border, near the border with Austria, so in a glacier. And the name of this project comes from Ötzi, which is actually this mummy that was founded in the 90s. And it's a 5,000 years old mummy. So that's why Ötzi, it's the name of this little guy, because the valley that surrounds this area, it's called Ötz Valley. And the client asked us to create a panoramic platform in order to enjoy the amazing landscape that surrounds this area. So this is the main access. So you park the car here down on this little town and take the lift. You can go up and reach the highest part. So here where you see the cross is where they asked us to put the panoramic platform. And this is the way how you go up. So the experience already starts when you have to climb up to this part. And our approach for the ground floor was the one to create organical ground floors, because we realized that the view was on 360 degrees, and we want to have this view on all the parts of the panoramic platform. So we avoided corners that can hide or hide some parts, some corners of the view. So we kept the floor plans organic. And for the parapet, we decided to use these vertical slices, which are perpendicular to the curve, in order to give this transparency effect, so that the parapet is not creating an obstacle for the view, and that the other side, you can almost from the distance look through the building. So the idea was to create something that can somehow also disappear in this context, leaving space to the surrounding views. So this was the first render, as you can see also here. While you have these curves, you can see through the platform. So the platform has also a panoramic bridge, let's say, or extra platform with the 3 glass sides. And as the conditions are quite harsh during the winter time, we had a small window to build the platform. So we have done everything in prefab in steel construction that we eventually brought there by helicopters. So these are some of the pictures of the construction side. And here you can see this effect with the parapet that is somehow looking through the metal sheets and giving the view to the landscape. So the platform is up here. So this is the lift on the right, which is also shaped with an organical form. And this is how they brought the pieces on the top of the mountain with a helicopter. So the main material is corten steel, because it's a material that is similar to the large wood, is changing with the time. And that was connected to the fact that the glacier, it's something that every year changes its morphology due to the melting of snow and ice. And that's why we wanted some materials that could also somehow play and communicate with this changing in the time. This is the final product with a platform that you can see through it. But also the children can have access to the beautiful landscape while looking through the bars. Exactly, here it's an example. If you move on the platform, you will notice that then every single part of your movement changes together with the view that you have from the platform. So the next project, it's an hotel located on 2,000 meters. His name is Zallinger. So the red dot is the location of the hotel. You can see here on the left are the lakes that I showed you in the first project. So it's not so that far from there. And this whole area was made accessible in the year 2000 with a lift for winter and summer tourism. So the existing situation is a small hotel. So the concept, the name of this hotel, it's called Schweige in German, which is a concept that describe a group of little buildings that are communicating together. So through these diagrams, we noticed that in the last 200 years, the history, the story of these buildings changed because they demolished and they build it up again. But the thing that stays in these 200 years was this concept of decomposed volume. So not just one bigger volumes, but many smaller volumes that were communicating to each other. So we wanted to keep somehow this story. This was the first sketch. So right now there is an existing restaurant with few rooms, and the client asked us to extend the restaurant, introduce 24 new rooms and a new small wellness area. So we decided to place the rooms all around. In the middle, we planned the wellness area, and then we extend the restaurant integrated in the landscape. But what is interesting about this project is that the first thing that came up to our in our consideration was the parking lots. So you arrive there, you have a beautiful landscape, but you see cars, and this was somehow not working with our approach that was more sustainable and environmentally friendly approach. So first of all, we decide to put all the cars in a garage, which of course it's not a very environmental friendly solution because you have to grab and put concrete. So we decided to take away the cars while bringing all the traffic down to the valley in order to free this whole area from the private traffic. And together with the client, we saw some old pictures that before they used to reach this point with animals and the sledge. And nowadays you can reach the hotel with this truck. So you leave the car down to the valley, step on this truck, you go up to the ski slope, and your experience already start down to the garage till you reach the hotel and the amazing views that you have from there. So together with the municipality and the neighbors, we decided to eliminate the private traffic from all of this area. And we got a certification for a Klima Hotel, which is the certification that says that a hotel is environmental friendly because we use the natural materials, natural insulations, and we try to keep it really, we try to minimize the pollution and the human impact in this context. So in July, we received the construction approval, and we did these buildings with a prefabricated system. So as you can see, in the middle of July, the foundation were there. And then in 1 week, walls and roofs was mounted. 1 month after, the windows were closing the volume. And 6 weeks after, the chalet were done. So it was a quite fast process. And thanks to the prefabrication systems, we were able to bring all the materials there, putting them together and finish the project. So this is the final results in a snowy wintertime. And the chalet are covered with a large wood facade, similar to the first project I showed you. And we use this modular system for the facade so that the client can choose the grades of intimacy and of privacy by opening and closing the facade of their own rooms. So this is the extension the extension of the existing situation. We use also in the interiors wood and textile in order to make them really cozy after you are done with the ski day. You can enter here and have a rest in a very warm and cozy environment. For the bar, we used a large, like a piece of one tree that was found in the surrounding. And this is the small sauna, which is also integrated with the landscape. So the rooms are accessible through open floor. And this is why from one side, we wanted to avoid heating dispersion. So we did all the rooms very compact. And on the other side, we wanted that the guests have the feelings that he's stepping inside of his own chalet. So you are in this common floor, common connection, which is still outside, and then you enter your own room directly from the outside, like as if it is your own house. The rooms are very compact. The bathroom is open in order also to leave the light going till the other side, till the darkest part of the room. No television. And up here, there is a small space thought for the children that can also rest there together with the parents. So the fourth project, it's called the Hotel Selena. So it's located near Brixen and Bruneck, which are two important cities in our region. We are in this valley that is also surrounded by mountains. And here, the client asked us to deal with something a bit more complicated than usual, because as you can see on the right, there was the existing hotel. This is the private apartment of the clients. And as you can see, the hotel speaks two different languages. And that was the main problem, because one part was built in the 90s, the other part was built 10 years ago. And the client now asked us to demolish one part of the hotel while keeping this existing part because it was more new, and adding a second, like a floor on top of all of this building. So here was the first diagram with the three different types of intervention. And of course, it's quite complicated because you have to deal with different styles, but then at the end, we wanted to have one uniform object. So even if it's divided in these three different interventions, we wanted at the end to look like one single hotel, one single building. So the previous name of this hotel was not Selena. It was rebranded, but it was called Moorhof. So the Moor, it's this part of land that is up here. You can see the morphology of it. Let's zoom in. And somehow we wanted to keep the story of the name of the hotel in the project, in the building itself. So what we did at the beginning, we took out a pattern inspired by this Moor, and we decided to create a facade that could envelope these three different interventions in order to obtain one single effect. So this was the final result. As you can see, there is this double skin, which has this texture related to the location, to the existing Moor. But at the same time, behind it, you see these three different type of interventions. So the new construction, the existing construction, and the new reconstruction that somehow are hidden behind this facade. Talking about the concept of Moor, we are going shortly to the interiors. And this is the existing situation underground. So this central part is the wellness part. And on one side here underground, we place the sauna. So the sauna are in this very dark place, and we wanted to recreate the feeling that you have when you are in the moor, so in a very dark and wet environment. But we wanted also that the client has this experience to start from a very dark and humid and wet environment. And while crossing it, here at the end, we placed a lift that goes up till the last floor. And then you can go out, walk on the roof, and access to this panoramic sauna. So it's this feeling that you have from underground to overground through this lift. So it's like going from this kind of environment that is almost clear from this picture, which is the pool situation. This is another sauna. We use also these kind of elements to recreate a kind of more environment. This is a relax room. And this is the sauna you have on the top. So it's like stepping out from a dark environment till you have this beautiful view on the surroundings. So this is the relaxed room also in the last floor, where we brought inside in this inside spaces the structure of the facade. And same things we did for the rooms. So we have these panels that are shading some parts like the shower, giving a little bit of more privacy, but keeping this mood of the context of the hotel. So for the walls, we choose the wallpapers, which is also somehow connected to this environmental situation. So again, this is a view from the outside. That's the final result. The last project I'm going to show you, it's called Apple Hotel. In English, it's Apple Hotel. And it's located in the very west part of the region, near Meran, which is also one big city in our region. And here, the clients asked us to do another intervention, because a few years ago, we designed and we planned this small sauna. But then the clients asked us to extend the hotel with a new wellness area, new rooms, and an extensions of a restaurant. So as it was our first approach for this project, the most important thing, the soul of this project, was the beautiful garden. So when you are in this garden, you are surrounded by apple plants, apple trees, and we want to keep the garden as central element of the project. But then, of course, we had to introduce new volumes. So this was the feeling we wanted to recreate, that you are in a very cozy and familiar environment. You can walk through in between the apple plants. And that was the first sketch. So we decided to place the volumes with the rooms on one side in order not to interfere with the garden. And we placed the new wellness area in the middle. But so the most important views are the views from the existing situation towards the apple trees. And in order to keep this green view, let's say, we managed to work with the back of these volumes while introducing a hill. So similar to the sauna we planned a few years ago, we used the hill in order to hide the new volumes. So this is the final result. And as you can see, the wellness area is visible only on this side, which is the side that opens up through the apple trees, while this part of the building, it's covered by green. So this is the feeling you have when you're in the restaurant. You see green, you see the landscape, and we worked with this kind of pavilion structures in order to be able to open all the glass doors during the summer, so that the boundaries between outdoor and indoor are almost not there if everything is open, because the nature here has a big role for this project. And here on the back, you see the heel. So you don't see any part of the volume, but just a green element. And this is the main access of the sauna. So it's a carved out opening inside of the heel where you can access through this door, which also takes a little bit the pattern of the existing barn. And this is the main facade of the wellness with the indoor-outdoor pool. And also here we used a very thin metallic structure in order to get covered by with plants in the near future. These are some shots of the interiors. Also here, the natural light was very important. This is the sauna that also is taking inspiration from the apple, from the organical forms of the fruit. And these are the 3 volumes with the new rooms. For the facade, we got inspiration from this pattern, which you see before in the door, and it's a pattern that was used for the previously barn facade. So it's kind of historical, taking inspiration from it. And the rooms are also playing strongly with this indoor-outdoor experience. So we have this floating bed for the terraces, while the interiors are very compact, and they are organized in this way so that we can use this upper part of the room in order to bring a second platform also to host children, so that one family can use these spaces and access to the outdoor area together. So thank you very much for the attention, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a great presentation, and I really enjoyed your projects. They're amazing. I have the first question here from Vojta. Is the location of being in the middle of Alps crucial to your design process? How difficult is to construct there? What are the advantages of working there?
Yeah, so for the projects that we are doing in our region, of course, the environment, it's something very positive that we have to take in consideration. So besides the problem that you can have, because of course sometimes you have a very harsh winter or different climate condition that you have to bring materials there. But I think this is the most stimulating fact in working with this natural environment, because then you have to work not just on an introverted building, let's say, but you have to put this building into a context. So it's kind of creating a dialogue with nature, which for us can bring only benefits. And we see it as a very big potential. So also sometimes the building itself should not be the most important thing, but it should be a kind of help for the user to enjoy the landscape more.
Yeah, and the question about the officials, about the preservation in Alps and mountains, is it possible to build almost anything, or there are some restrictions that you have to be really careful what you are building there?
Yeah, of course, there are some parts that are under cover, let's say, that you need to go through a long process before obtaining the construction approval. So for instance, for projects that are a bit solitary or located in special position, you should go through present the project in front of architects that sometimes are also coming from outside of Italy, that they are just taking in consideration how the architecture, or if the architecture fits in this environment or not. So besides all the technical parts that normally are analyzed by the municipality, they are just looking at the architecture, at the material, at the shape. So yes, sometimes it's a bit difficult because these judgments are quite subjective, but I find it quite important, because then at the end you have to be sure that you are not somehow colliding or destroying the natural landscape.
And what about the Ötzkých, the platform on the top of the mountain? I want to ask you, who was the client, because I think I missed it. And was there any problem with building the? I don't mean materials and helicopters. I mean the restrictions. Was there any problem?
No, actually, so the client is the company that owns the lift that brings you up there. So they had this deal also with the municipality to create something to enhance, also to bring people in certain part of this valley in order to stimulate the tourism. So they had different proposal. At the beginning it was a bar, but then it turns out that they would prefer something that it's more accessible to everyone. So that's why they decided for a platform, but they had this deal to create something small and of course public, so not semi-public or private, so that everyone can enjoy it and be on this building, this project.
Yeah, thank you. When I promoted this talk with you and I used a picture of Noah on our Facebook, There was some interesting comment, one interesting comment. The question if we should build something there on the mountain or in the mountains, if nature needs us to make it more attractive, make it more beautiful. What do you think about it?
Yeah, exactly. This is also something that we are facing almost every day in our practice, because there are different point of view, and that's why when they asked us to do something in this very specific and also romantic environment, we have to be very, very careful. So that's why we say that for each project we need a different approach, which is influenced by different things, and somehow we really want to create something because it's our job, and we also like to create new things that can interact with the environment, but at the same time you should be careful that you're not going to put something that it's useless, let's say, but better that you put something that enhance the value of the location itself. So it's a very big discussion every time between us, between the clients, and between the municipality. And then at the end, after these long steps, we always end up finding the best solution that satisfy all of the requirements.
I think your presentation and your projects, it was kind of answer for that comment, because we have seen that you try to cover those buildings in the nature, to preserve the views and everything. And I was surprised that you said that you decided to ban the private vehicles and private transportation in case of the project you showed us. Does it mean that there were some local people who were influenced by this ban, this stopping of the traffic, or it was just for the hotel?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said that. So these official documents that was signed after, that was saying that there will be not private traffic there, was signed between the client, the municipality, and the neighbors. So it was a decision that considered everyone that was involved somehow in this area, and everyone at the end was happy to remove the private traffic, because the few people that were living there, they have different way to access their own houses or hotels. But as the tourism increased quite a lot in the last 20 years in South Tyrol, it was the best decision to say, okay, let's leave all the cars down to the valley and leave this part of the nature free from pollution.
That's very interesting. That's quite unusual, and I'm really happy for that example. And the last question, maybe, we'll check if we have some more questions from our... No? last question from me. Are your clients and their customers interested in sustainable architecture or environmental friendly architecture? Is that something they ask for?
So it depends. It depends a lot also from the project, but it's something that in the last year increased a little bit more. Still, we are trying with the use of natural materials to avoid heating dispersion. From our side, we are trying to make it more like our project more sustainable and environmentally friendly as possible. Some of our clients are really into this kind of approach. That's why for some projects we choose a kind of a material, like a different approach also in terms of materials, of energetical systems, and for other projects is still not like this. So it really depends, but generally in our region, in South Tyrol, it's something that slowly it's taking more importance, also because of the regulation, because you need now really following strictly rules to build new buildings, because the new municipality is setting new like limits of heating dispersions and of energetical performance. So from one side is the will of the clients, but from the other side you have to follow the rules. So it's going both ways in that direction.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your talk, and thank you for introducing us your work and your studio.
Thank you very much, Siri.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was Andrea Dal Negro from NOA, which stands for NOA Network of Architecture. If you would like to check their work, you can find them on noa.network, or you can check their work on design.com or another websites you like. You can find this this stream on our YouTube and Facebook. And if you will join us next week in other edition of Urban Talks, I will be really happy to join you again. So see you later.